and I prefer to see Hex expensive on all chains. I don't prefer to see cheap Hex anywhere. So, you know, having Hex on 2 chains can be quite nice.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker. Richard Hart. But my Hex from the fucking start.
Hex does have a point of failure. You know what it is? Gas fees. It's required. It runs on the Ethereum network. That's its point of failure. I did find it. I didn't like it at the beginning, and it did turn out to be a problem later. But that's Hex's only point of failure. Being realistic here.
Yes.
Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. But my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm check mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing.
Let's solve gas fees now, then worry about getting scale.
And I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this Pulsechain Lango. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this Pulsechain Lango. Swerving the ring like a Lambo.
The SLID fees will be the same. However, the gas cost to pay for those fees will be way cheaper.
Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. By my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart.
How much are high gas fees hurting Hex price? It's hard to know. I mean, to some degree, people that might have sold won't sell because they can't get their coins because it's not cost effective for them to get their coins because the gas costs too much. But those are usually like smaller amounts. I really don't know. It's a good question.
Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this Pulsechain Lango. Swerving the ring like a Lambo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon, aka Rags Riches, aka the CEO, CFO, C of all the O's. And as always, I have no freaking clue why you're wasting your time right now. Why are you here in this chat? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got some cool stuff. Just painted the picture for you with that YouTube video, and we're going to provide some context. As always, first, let's check chat. Godfather J6 in the house. What's up, my man? Magic Carpet Ride. What's up? Daytime Plays. My Online Ghost. DJin, Dougie Peach. Yo, Rags. What's up, man? Pulse Former in the house. What's going on? Imagine having a few 100,000 or million Hex and selling at 7 cents. That's flipping wild to me. Crypto Compassion. Nice to have you in here. Sandy Beach. Jay. Let's go through here. Katie, Facing Reality. Boom! Facing Reality in the house. Okay. What's this say? Another sacrifice, I bet, made by low IQ, money, hungry scammers. Yeah. We're going to put you in timeout because you're a punk ass little bitch. Okay. Cody Lane, what is up? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring you guys some pretty cool stuff here. And you know, I looked at this for the first time and I tried my hardest. Thank God for David. Shout out to David here in chat. I think he's a part of these guys' team. He hit me up and I said, yeah, man, I want to have him on. Let's talk about this. It's a really, really cool thing. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Hextrovert, Triplett Dad, and Jmoney. What is going on, fellas?
Hey, Rags.
Thank you for having us, Rags.
Dude, man, I'm excited to talk about this because, you know, it's really difficult to come up with good ideas with regards to projects. It's very, very difficult. And you might come up with a good idea, but the other part is trying to sell it, you know, to the community. But this is, I think, a very, very useful tool for Hex stakers and Hex users. And moving forward, man, I think this can really help out with adoption, and it can really help out with, you know, decreasing circulating supply, and that's good for everybody. So I want to go ahead and give you guys the floor here, and maybe just kind of introduce yourselves. There are some people in my chat that don't know who you are. and then we'll kind of get into the project. So go ahead.
Go first, Ty. You're on top.
Sure. Hextrovert Ty, Magic Carpet Ride. Found Richard Hart in just prior, well, not around the Pulsechain sacrifice day 5. Been in crypto since 2017. Got jaded by all the scams and ICOs, got rugged, lost a lot of money. So whatever I had left in a ledger and just disappeared back to normal life for about 3 years or so. And David, who hit you up, he's a friend in real life who said, "Hey, you need to come back," you know. And so I missed Hex, all that at the start. Haven't missed it, but missed the start. And then one day when I got back into it, started watching like all the crap again, you know, Crypto Banner, all the, you know, the guys that just rinse everyone for referrals, and saw this guy with a top hat on a stream. Went, who is this guy? Like, some of the stuff he was saying just made my ears prick up. And then he shilled Pulsechain at the end of the show. So went and dug into that and went, wow, I gotta expose myself to this a little, get in the game. And that's where it started. Then went into Pulsechain chat, Papa Boner in there. We became friends, ended up learning a lot from him about security. Spent so much time in there that Richard actually made me an admin for Pulsechain and PulseX, and just been in it ever since, man. And then, we started running pools, for no fee pools for the community, to give them an opportunity if they were small to get bigger multipliers, to just give them a better leg up in the sacrifices for PulseX and a few of the other protocols in the ecosystem that's going to be on Pulsechain.
Outstanding, man. Well, thanks for that introduction, Triplett Dad. Who are you, man?
I'm the guy who sits at the table with you at Freddie Quote's party, right? That was a fun night. But I'm very similar to Ty, but I wasn't actually into crypto. I had the opportunity to get into it way back, but I never did, right? But I'm in this now for 3.5 years into crypto. I found Hex during the Pulsechain sacrifice. I'm at day 601 Hexican, right? Not a day one. Having been 601 Hexican, I had all the issues staking that Hex that we're trying to resolve with this project, right? It was a bull market. NFTs were starting to come unglued, and I'm trying to stake little bags of Hex that I was DCAing into, and just getting the crap beat out of me with gas fees.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're doing this.
Cool. And Jmoney, my man, what's going on?
What's up, my man? How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, kind of same story as Ty and Triplett Dad here. I had a buddy that was into crypto for a couple of years. He says he tried to get me into Hex back in the early adoption days. I don't remember, but hey, I lost that opportunity if he did. I got in like March or so of 2021, which was pre Pulsechain. It was right when the Pulsechain Telegram kind of started up. There was about 8,000 or 9,000 people in there when I jumped in. And really that was the start of my journey. I spent about 6 months just day in and day out of that chat room, learning everything. Papa B, of course, you know, I had to wrap my head around these hardware wallets, and that was a struggle. So with my trials and tribulations, I really took to the troubleshooting portion of things and got into the security side of stuff. And in October that same year, just being in the chats for so long, I got involved with the How to Pulse team. We built a website that the community loves so much that gives you all your information. Just kind of been an ambassador for those guys for the last year and roughly a half, I suppose. And in the background, through all that time, you know, I've been friends with these guys, the two gentlemen sitting here with us, and we've spent some time, you know, in the backgrounds chatting, whatever. We have our own little room on the side with like 20 people in it that we've been, you know, good friends since the beginning. And I've met Triplett in person outside of Vegas, but, you know, he lives here near where I live. And yeah, man, I have a really good relationship with these guys, and we spoke a while back, and they told me what they were doing, and I thought it was awesome. So I agreed to jump on and be part of this team.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I used to do a whole lot of streams where I would interview project founders and co-founders and things like that. And the whole purpose of this stream in my mind is to be able to use this to be able to share to other people in the future so they can understand what your project is. So I'm going to try to keep way out all the fluff, and we're just going to have alpha. We're going to talk about your project, and that way we can serve people in the future when they're looking at this stream. So I'm going to hop right into this. One of the first questions I always ask is, hey, would you be willing to prove that you own Hex at the time that you owned it if the community asked you to? Because there's so many scammers and things like that. But I know all of you guys, so I'm not concerned about that whatsoever. So I want to go ahead and get into this. We provided the context at the beginning of this stream. Gas fees are outrageous. And there's a really, really cool thing with Hex, and that's called bigger pays better and longer pays better. So how have you guys been able to wrangle that and take advantage of that in a really, really good way for people that want to stake Hex? The floor is yours.
I'll start with that one. I'll field it. The nature of Hex with the S load and that sort of thing makes staking small bags a little bit difficult, because the gas fees to unstake a native stake, Hex stake, will eat into your profits. So we were trying to noodle through how to get that handled. And with our experience in setting up pools and leveraging multipliers and Richard Hart's pools and liquid loans pools, all of those pools, we decided we could probably leverage some of that in a Hex staking pool contract. So what we're doing in a nutshell is a user can come on, create a pool. That pool will be in a list of pools that have already been created. And that pool, that user can set the duration of the stake, so 30 days to 555s, right? And he can set how long that pool is going to stay open for. So I'm going to take new participants in this pool for the next 24 hours. I'm going to take it for 30 days, right? And everybody can hop into that pool. When that pool closes, the stake gets placed on native Hex staking contract. We're not doing NFTs or anything like that, right? So it goes straight into native Hex stake. We're just a utility that's riding on top of an immutable contract that's had flawless uptime for 3+ years, right? We're just giving a little front end to that and our own twist to it to bundle people together. When that stake comes out, the S load is split amongst the people in that pool. So if there's 20 people in, you're paying 5% of what you normally would. And that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot of game theory in this. I'll let Ty hop in with some of that game theory, but we're doing some other crazy stuff.
All right, let me summarize for the people here first and make sure I understand, because if I understand, other people can too. So what you've done, you have given the ability for people to create their own pool, basically a permissionless pool. Go out there, you can do it. People have a certain time frame. What's the time frame to be able to hop in these things, or can you choose?
You can choose it.
Okay. Are there any limitations, or do you guys know that much yet?
30 days is the limitation.
Okay, so I can go on this website. In my mind, this is probably not what it is, but I'm imagining like a forum with a bunch of different entries, and I can go in and I see the headline, and I see this is this person's pool, Rags to Riches pool, and I go in and I click that, and I want to be a part of this pool, and at that point I can go in and basically sign up for that pool. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then when you sign up for that pool, you're able to take advantage of a couple things. Bigger pays better primarily. because anybody could stake long, but bigger pays better. And also you're splitting the economic energy up required to be able to in that stake in the future equally amongst all the participants in the pool. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Future-proofing yourself from future GWE and Ethereum price. Those two things can get out of hand very quickly. We're seeing it now.
Okay. All right. I'll hold some of my questions for later, but I will summarize each person. Who's got the next one there?
Okay. So just you were pretty close to your summation at the start there, Rags.
Okay.
But yeah, so we will have on our website a dashboard, an analytics board. So when someone initiates, that's what we're going to be, initiates a pool and says it's going to be open for 5 days or 10 days, whatever it's going to be. And its duration is a year, and they're going to put in 100,000 units of hex. That's all going to be displayed. It'll also be automatically sent to Twitter. We'll have a Twitter bot, just like the hex one, that shows all the action that happens every day. And it's going to say pool has been initiated. It's going for X amount of period. It's open for X amount of period. And this is how much hex/T shares is already, in there at today's value. So it's going to be very social, very interactive from that section. And that's what we want. We want that social interaction. So yeah, I think that's important to have that social interaction. And when people can come and see the different pools that are open, they might join multiple pools in one day because they might see a ladder type system, or they may start their own ladder. We've spoken to some Hexicans in the community like Crispy who have done ladder strategies and Papa B. Maybe someone prominent will start a stake and ladders within the protocol and go online and say, they may not participate in it too much, but they may be the one that programs it. So they may just initiate the pool and put something small in there so people don't have to learn themselves how to build a ladder, and they could follow someone who's built amazing ladders. So there's a big social aspect and onboarding vibe to it all as well.
Cool. So I like that from a marketing standpoint. You guys are saying that it's going to be very interactive. It's going to be very dynamic. When any type of activity happens where a stake is sent out, this or that, you're going to have a feed on Twitter that's kind of blasting that out to the world as well. And that also serves to kind of keep your project on people's minds. So that's very, very important too, from a marketing standpoint. And one of the things that I'm just thinking about off the top of my head, it's like, why wouldn't you find somebody to send a stake out with? Because it just makes much more sense, and mathematically in every single way. So that's pretty cool. Jmoney, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, people in real life, like we've got friends that want to stake together, but they're like, well, what if we have a falling out? How are we going to control that? So this takes away all that trusted element. They can make their own pool. They can go in it trustlessly. They don't have to worry if they're not friends by the time the pool matures. But at the same time, people in the community might join their pool. Or like you see at a corporate office or officers or work colleagues, they go in lotteries together. I think they call them syndicates. I'm not sure what they call them over there.
Sure.
So people might group together like that, whether it's at work, community, and they might look at what Guidewell's done and say, hey, look, this guy's doing big amounts of hex for short periods. Maybe someone's going to come up and say, let's try and leverage large stakes for short periods. It's built straight on top of hex for hex, works like hex. So the possibilities of what people are going to do is, going to be in their mind. As Richard said, when he built hex and tried to think of every possibility, people came out with things that he didn't even think of.
Okay, cool. All right, that makes sense. That's perfect. All right, is there anything else that you guys, well, there's a lot next, I guess. Let me ask you guys a couple questions if you don't have anything else to add. So go ahead, and if you have anything else to add, go ahead. You guys good?
Yeah, I was just going to kind of bring up the point too. I don't know if we covered it yet or not, or I know we haven't, but when you do this stake with somebody, you're going to end up with a receipt token, which is ultimately sellable, right? You don't have to hold the entirety of that token. So that receipt's going to show your percentage of the pool, how much hex is in your bag on that particular part of the stake. And if you want to get out of part of your position, all of it, small percentage, whatever you want to do, you'll have the freedom to do that.
Cool. And I want to talk about that next. We're going to kind of segue into that.
Cool.
One of the questions that I had before we move on, because it's applicable to these topics here. So in the case of somebody being in jail or somebody dying, who's in control of ending the stake? And how does it end? How can somebody give fee? Is the gas fee collected ahead of time? I guess it can't be, because you don't know what future gas fees are going to be. What's that look like?
I'll take this one. So the in gas fee, the in stake fee is a public called function. Okay. And without going too deep into that person who calls that function is reimbursed. So, Rags creates his own pool. That stake is done, buttons black, right? If we were doing it natively, right? And you click in stake, that all of those funds come out of your wallet, you in that stake, and then as people claim, your wallet gets reimbursed for their portion of that stake. Okay. If somebody is in jail, this is actually something that we were going to talk about. This we never even haven't talked about this in any group yet, right?
Okay.
If somebody's in jail, somebody loses their keys, blah blah blah, all the good stuff that happens in crypto. We are emulating the bleed out function of Hex.
Okay.
So you have as a participant in this stake 7 days to get your stake to claim your hex. Okay. If you do not claim your hex, Rags being the guy who pushed the button, you get all that dude's Hedron.
Okay.
Which is sweet, right? Then if he does not claim his stake, his hex within 2 weeks, we start emulating the bleed out function of Hex, and the percent per day starts going to the MCR token holders. So his stake bleeds out, and the MCR token holders start collecting that Hex, and half of it doesn't go to the OA like it does in native Hex, right? Because that has been claimed. You have all the bigger pays better and all the good stuff associated with that, and 100% of it goes to the token holders in a bleed out function, and he has a period of time just like he would in a native Hex stake to collect his tokens.
Okay, cool. Now you entered the word Hedron into this, and we hadn't talked about that previously, so I don't have context. So I need to know, these are native Hex stakes, these aren't HSIs. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So how does Hedron play into this?
There's always a Hedron bag accessible to native Hex stakes, and you just claim it on the day before, right? Okay. So our stakers are going to be able to get their Hedron, but we're stopping it there. There's no communist. There's nothing in the future. Once this gets done, it's done. It's on the blockchain. There's no little modules that we can add to it because we asked the devs and they said, no, you cannot do that. Right. So Hedron is coming out. It gets distributed, and portions of that Hedron get distributed to the MCR token holders.
Okay. And the other question I have before we move on here is, I'm trying to conceptualize what happens in that 30-day period when you have somebody who creates a pool,
right?
And then you have 3 or 4 or 5 people pop in. At what point is the money due, and where does the money go?
You want to handle that one time?
So we're talking about when a pool's initiated.
Pool's initiated. At what point does the pool require that money due? Right when you sign up.
So I'll clear that up, and I think it'll clear up a question that I saw earlier in the chat. So initiating a pool can go from 1 day to 30 days. 30 days is the max. because it just gets
Mhm.
difficult the longer it stays open. So you can have a pool. You might have a whale come in and throw 10 million hex in there and say, hey, this is only open for a day. Jump on board. So at the time that they initiate the pool, they pay the network fee, and they put their hex in the pool. And everyone who comes in after them does the same thing. So it's in real time. So just like when you're end staking ICOSA or looking to buy a token on Uniswap, sometimes you delay it because the GWAI is too high. So obviously you can choose when you want to enter the pool based on that as well. Like if the GWAI is high at the moment, even though it's just a send, maybe you're like, I'm just going to wait. So as long as you get in before the pool closes, you pay in real time on the start stake.
So I guess one of the thoughts that just came to my mind, it's just like it's like an ongoing Maximus party, kind of in a way, right?
Some people have termed it the Maxi Maker,
or the Giant Slayer.
So we just want to clear up that we love those guys. We like what they've done. We don't see ourselves as competitors. This is just a different play on hex staking.
Sure,
so
cool.
There's space for everybody in this community, right? There's people that place their stakes natively. There's people that do it through the Staker app. There's people that go and buy Maxi on a dip. There's people that get discounts on HSIs, right?
Well, we're just
another part of that.
Yeah. Brizology is really confused. I know you're a Bitcoin bro, Brizology, but we'll get you there, buddy. No, the initiation of the pool is 1 to 30 days. The staking is the same as Hex, 1 day to 5555. It's just the initiation of the pool. Okay, everything else works like Hex. Hope that clears that up for you, buddy. And for T-Bird, no admin keys, immutable. Once this is done, tested, audited, it's going to be audited by the same company that audited Hex, and every box is ticked. It will be deployed, and that'll be it. It'll live. We'll have no control whatsoever.
Okay. Now, when you create these pools, is it just going to be a wallet address? It's not going to be an actual name, or is it? Or how's that work? Like, who owns the pool? Is it going to have a name?
Protocol.
Go ahead, Ty.
The protocol, smart contract protocol, creates that, and obviously every pool is going to have its own unique pool stake ID.
Okay.
And the reason for that too is unlike Maximus or Deci, where they just had it was like a one show, right? Like, we're open for 30 days. You send in your hex, whatever hex you send in, you get back Deci or Maxi or whatever. And then when it closes, it's done. So they can have one token. Well, we can't have one token because this is infinite amount of pools. There could be hundreds of pools being created every day by people all over the world. So you can't have one token because the dynamics in every pool are different, right? So that just can't be done. So for that reason, we'd be advocating not to start liquidity pools with the pooled stake token, because there could be 1 million of those pools. Every pool will have a unique pooled stake ID. So even though the token graphic might be the same, the ticker ID will be as a nomenclature, like a P for pooled. We're not going to use the word hex. We don't want to leverage off the name or anything like that. It'll get people confused. It'll have, like in Hex, it has a stake ID number. So it'll just have its own generated pooled stake ID number.
So these are kind of like, I guess, in Uniswap, when you enter a liquidity position, in the older Uniswap versions, you get tokens specific to your position. Yep. So you guys are kind of using that, and those are tradable or transferable.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, so that's what you're doing. So Uniswap V2, you're taking kind of that technology, and that's pretty cool. Retrofitting it, that's neat.
So a lot of pools could be small, right? Mm-hmm. Me going in with 50,000 hex, Ty going in with 50,000, Jmoney's got 80 grand, and you've got 80 yourself. That's not enough to make a liquidity pool on Uniswap. So that's why we're using the OTC. We're going to create an OTC that's great for all, that works well with all ERC20s. Mm-hmm. And you can actually take them, put them in there, and trade them across the board trustlessly with no slippage.
That's so that's huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That actually helps people because there's no emergency end stake feature, just like in Maximus and that. There's the protocol can't emergency end stake. No one else can emergency end stake. But we wanted to put this facility in their case something happened in real life. Someone gets cancer, someone dies. They need money for whatever reason. They need to get some of their bag out, and they don't want to get penalized for emergency end staking. So this way they'd be able to sell a percentage of their pooled stake or all of it, whatever they like. And the reason we've chosen this way over an NFT is because with an NFT, it's all or nothing.
You could come from a degen background like me also, right? Before I was a day 601 Hexican and dove deep into this ecosystem, I was in Phantom and AVAX and all that good stuff, right? There could be a play where I go into this pool, I cover my cost basis, I extract that money out, and it's back in my wallet, go play with it, and I leave myself a moon bag, right? That's very typical of people in the crypto community. There's all kinds of ways that this can be played.
Outstanding. Okay. So there will be tokens. There is not a native token issued. It's only the tokens that are created after you enter a position.
MCR will have a token.
It's separate system.
It's completely separate from this contract.
So your portion of the pool or the prize winnings will be determined on those tokens that you come to redeem with.
100%. And
Okay.
we don't get any of it.
Sure. And those are burned at the point of redemption. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you explained what happens if somebody doesn't come redeem their portion. We know about that as well. Okay. So we're
incentivizing people to claim, obviously,
Right.
because obviously they're going to want to claim because they want their hex back. And we don't want the protocol to hold everyone's hex either.
Sure.
So we're trying to incentivize that. And by doing that, like Triplett Dad said, the first person who does that public call has an opportunity to get Hedron from all the participants that don't come back to claim their hex. So it's going to incentivize someone to do that public call at the end.
Okay. All right. So as it stands right now, what is your timeline as a team to get this thing to market?
90 days.
Okay. What's that look like?
90 days looks like
Can't hear you, Triplett. You just cut out.
getting it on testnet. Is that better?
Yep. So 90 days. Getting it on testnet.
Testnet 90 days, right? And once it's on testnet, we're auditing and everything. So this is going to go. Order of operations here is we are going to have a sacrifice. We are going to have a token that's going to be released first. Okay. And then this goes on testnet on Ethereum. And it goes to audit at that point, and all of the dApps that we're dropping, the staking protocol for our token, the hex staking pool, as well as the OTC, all go over to Pulsechain once that launches.
Okay. So, all right. I want to make sure I understand this. So the whatever the receipt token, that is not your actual token. You guys will have a token associated with this.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that too before you
go ahead.
So the hex stake, the pooled hex staking protocol is standalone. Just so people don't get confused, they don't need to be part of Magic Carpet Ride Sacrifice. That's separate. That is going to benefit those holders for all the protocols that we put out. But you don't have to be involved in any sacrifices or anything. You can just wait for this to go be deployed and just use the protocol. Just come day one that it's deployed on Ethereum, you can just go and start a pool. So you don't need to be involved in anything else. Okay.
This is a separate. So what you're talking about is a separate project that you guys plan on releasing.
It all ties in together though. So
but it will tie together.
Yeah.
Yes.
When will people hear details on that?
We did it in our stream. I don't know if you've got time for that today. It's not that difficult, so I can give you a 30,000 foot view of it.
Sure.
So basically the MCR token, there'll be a sacrifice for that. And as I said, it's separate from the Hex protocol that we're building to go on top. So people who sacrifice for that token, obviously they're going to get rewarded in points that may turn into a token. If they stake that token in our protocol, they get to earn passive income in the form of Ethereum on Ethereum and Pulse on Pulsechain from the Hex protocol the fees it generates. So what I mean by that is everyone who starts a stake on the Hex protocol, they have to pay a fee to start a stake. Okay. So in our system, they will pay, it'll be a little bit more expensive to enter a pool than it would to do it natively. But we're talking very negligible. But as more people go into a pool, so the bigger the pool, the more they're paying. The excess from that goes to the MCR token holders.
Protocol fee, you use that protocol fee to purchase assets that get distributed to people who hold the token proportionate to the amount of tokens that they're holding.
And same with the end. So at the end stake fees, as people come and collect, the more people, basically the more people in the pool, it's like, as TD said before, if you have 20 people, they're only paying 5% each. So they're saving 95% of the end stake gas fee. But the more people in the pool, they're still paying that 5%, and all the excess is going to the yield is 100% going into the MCR pool. And if you're staked in that, you earn the rewards there.
Okay. You used an S at the end of protocol. So the plural of protocol, which is protocols. So is there other plans for things in the future here?
So the OTC is a separate protocol.
Okay.
And the fees for transfers of my tokens to you, there's a fee involved with that. Those fees also go to the MCR token holders. Okay. And that's it for now. We're not trying to dig ourselves a deep hole here, right? We have the Hex staking protocol is our number one priority. That will be out before anything else is out. That is our bread and butter. That's what we want to try to get to market before Pulsechain launches. But of course, that's not up to us.
So imagine this, Rags. So
Yeah.
you're using the protocol, the staking protocol, and you're getting a 95% savings on your fees, right? Mm-hmm. You pay a little small fee, maybe another 2% or something like that, right? Just something tiny. And then you own the MCR token, and you go ahead and stake that in that pool, and you passively earn enough ETH to cover the other 5%, if not more, and maybe even enough to cover some of your native stakes that you didn't use this protocol for. This is an ongoing gas token earning protocol.
Every pool that starts and ends is feeding back any excess fees to the MCR holders. Not in our tokens or in Ethereum or Pulse.
So being in the wallet type of environment that I've been in, I hear a lot of people say, I only have 0.0002 ETH in my wallet because that's all I ever keep in there. And that baffles me sometimes that people aren't thinking ahead to put a little bit extra gas in there, right? But imagine if you never had to spend any more of your capital on those gas tokens.
If you have a small bag of MCR tokens to claim to gather ETH over a period of time, you could possibly have your start stake and end stake fees paid for by the yield with MCR token. And on top of that, I just got a text message from Crypto Koolaid. He said to tell the tiny ginger hello for me.
We love Koolaid.
I'm going to assume that he's in a hot tub with a big old box of wine somewhere right now.
Spitting alpha.
Yeah. So that's cool, man. So let me just kind of give you what's going through my head right now. This seems like a HEX hedge fund that pays out dividends that you can essentially reinvest back into this whole thing. It's a pretty neat thing. And And that's going to drive people, especially on the Ethereum side, certainly until Ethereum gets their act together gas fee wise, that would drive people to use this protocol. And even when they get the gas fee squared away, there's still utility to be, people still are incentivized to partner up and make this thing go on Ethereum. And I would imagine if our world looks cross-chain in the future, and Hex is on multiple chains, this could probably follow that too. So that's pretty neat.
So
I just want to clear up something.
we are of the opinion that Hex is not dead on Ethereum just because Pulsechain launches, right?
No.
And a lot of people say that. We don't think that's the case. We think that the T-share rate on Pulsechain is going to ratchet up to the point where interest on Ethereum might be greater. The T-share rate might be less. Might take less Hex to create a T-share on Ethereum than it will on Pulsechain. And if that's the case and those tokens are close to parity, that means that T-share costs less on Ethereum. And if I can get a higher interest rate on Ethereum and pay 95% of the gas fee, that starts to look very, very attractive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to clear up something for Torren with the fees. There's the start stake or initiation stake fee is totally different from the end stake. So when Jmoney mentioned a figure like 2%, 2.5%, it'll be negligible. That is to start. So at the start, when you join a pool, whatever the GWAI is at the time, it's going to tell you, like if you were to do that by yourself, it's going to say $2. Through our protocol, it's going to say, $2.20, something like that. It's very small. At the end stake, as an easy example, if there was 20 people in the pool, everyone's going to be sharing the 5% of that the 20 people, making it 100%, right? Anyone after that is still paying like 5%. So they're saving 95, but they're paying the protocol 5%. All the excess is going 100% to the MCR token holders.
Makes sense. And I think the initial pool creation, if it is anything like the code of Uniswap, whenever you guys create a liquidity pool for the first time, they charge a massive fee up front. And this is much, much smaller. So that I think I see what's going on there.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you ultimately kind of look at and ask the question, what does this protocol solve? It's obviously, reducing gas fees for everybody. And then if you asked, well, Pulsechain's coming and, fees are going to be cheap, will it be over there too? And the answer is yes to that. And the reason that it will still survive on that chain is, let's face it, fees are going to be cheap at first because they were cheap at first in Ethereum also, right? And we don't know how long that's going to take, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but we should see some sort of higher gas fee in the future on Pulsechain. So this will work.
Yeah. Well, and regardless of that, it's the buddy system. Why wouldn't you partner up with somebody? Yeah, but bigger pays better.
So I rebuilt the Hex calculator.
Mm-hmm.
We got rid of the speculative price piece, just left the units of Hex in the days, and it spits out the longer and bigger pays better. So we've created that as a simulation, which will be on our dashboard, which people will be able to use, that if they put the same amount of Hex by themselves in a pool and they have that same percentage. So like, let's say there was 10 million units of Hex in a pool and you own 10% of that pool, you've got 1 million units of Hex in that pool. It'll show you what you're going to get in that pool with 10 million, and it'll show you what you would have got if you did it by yourself. And it's significant. Like we're talking on that situation, it's about 5,200 units more Hex. And that's just over a period of, I think, from memory, a year. But we've got that simulator built, so people will be able to plug in days. As a guide, the number of Hex and the payout per T-share every day. So, that can change. So they can actually put that in themselves, and then just the percentage that they own in the pool, and it'll show you the comparison between doing it in the pool and doing it by yourself, as well as the gas savings. So,
okay, cool. quick question here. Who do you guys plan on using for your project audit?
Coin Fabric.
Coin
Same
Fabric?
people who did Hex.
Cool.
We may get more than one audit. That's something we sort of will rely on our devs, and we speak to a few of the other teams in the Builders Guild as well about their experiences, who they went with, whether it was Solid Proof, Certic. They all have different experiences. Alex from Hedron told us about some experiences which weren't that ideal. So we want to use quality auditing companies, not cheap auditing companies.
Understood. Absolutely. All right. We're 47 minutes in. This is where all the ADD people start chasing squirrels. So do you guys have anything else that you would like to add before we wrap things up?
If you have any questions, come into our Telegram room. Take a look at this video. Take a look at our video. And keep an eye on YouTube, because we're kind of dropping little nuggets in a lot of different streams over the next couple of weeks prior to the sacrifice phase for this project. Just come into our Telegram room, and if you have any questions, we will try to get you an answer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've already started. We haven't started voice chats in Telegram yet, but we're probably going to do that soon as the numbers build up in that room. But I have already been fielding a lot of questions on Spaces. There's quite a few people in here today in the chat that have been in there. So happy to answer them in Spaces. We'll do Spaces as well. And we've also been building out our Git book. So part of all of this before we actually even have a sacrifice and whatnot is we want all those resources there that are very clear, in writing, laid out, so people can go and digest it in their own time.
Outstanding.
And
Okay,
this
guys.
isn't a giant team either. I want to give a shout out to David, right? David is a member of our team. There's only 4 guys. 3 of them are on screen, and David is the guy that is behind the scenes. And he's actually the only person in this group that has brought a project to life before, right? So he's helping us with a lot of things. A lot of ideas come from us, and he's supplying us with a lot of the backroom stuff.
Awesome. Well, guys, stoked about this. I'm glad that I got to interview you guys. What I'm going to do for people in the future, I'm going to bookmark each one of these sections with each topic, so people can just kind of click this and go straight to the questions that they might have. So, guys, hold on. Blah, blah. Hold on. There we go. Appreciate it. And
thank you for the opportunity, Rags.
Yeah, man. Great job, guys. Excited about this. Let's see it.
All right. We'll bring it out.
Thank you,
guys.
sir. Appreciate you.
Buddy. Nice seeing you again.